It's been an exciting time for me. Over the last 19 months, I've had an opportunity to lead up one of the largest public safety organizations here in the state of Florida, including law enforcement, fire rescue services, our Department of Detention, and it's been an educational experience for me because I had learned very early on the power of this office and the impact that we could have. With over 5,500 employees spreading across 1,300 square miles and operating on almost $1 billion budget, thank you, Mayor, we have an obligation to be more than just a law enforcement organization. We have an obligation to be more than just a public safety organization. We have to be able to take the resources that are embedded into this organization, primarily with the focal point of protecting the community, and understand that protection is not limited to making arrests, it's not limited to carrying guns, it's not limited to being the top line training organization and preparedness for active shooter, but there's a protection aspect that can be applied through simply educating people. Education has been the guiding principle in which has led me out of the inner cities of Philadelphia to be here as the first African American sheriff in 105 years. It has been a great equalizer through my entire life. And so the programs that the Junior Achievement has established in partnerships with the Broward Sheriff's Office will continue to see our support. We'll continue to have our men and women rally behind the important work that you are doing. But we can't even limit that in terms of what more things we can do. And so over the last 19 plus months, I have been challenging our organization as to what can we develop so that we can continue to support your goals and objectives. It's not just a matter of continuing to help fund the things that you cover here in Junior Achievement, but to also give you more manpower, indirectly, give you more manpower through the resources that we have. In this past year, we started something called our Broward Sheriff's Office Youth Mentoring Program, where the idea behind it is to continue to expand on several different pillars that are important for our young people to be able to develop and build up in terms of skill trait that's going to give them an opportunity. Of course, you've already talked about and have excelled in financial literacy. We understand the importance there. That was one of our pillars. But if you listen to the outline of what the structure is currently, one pillar is education, life skills, financial literacy, community service, government and civic responsibility, health and wellness, and career development. Now you hear those pillars and nowhere do you hear law enforcement. But yet if we can build up our community, our youth, and make them strong in these areas, I'm quite certain I'm going to be swearing some good people in someday because they went through this program. I'm quite certain that the partnerships that we have will not necessarily reduce a burden on you, but will make you stronger in the efforts that you already are doing for this community. We can no longer be an organization where our focal point falls down to two simple items. Simply, it's protect and serve. That has always been a law enforcement public safety mantra across this country. But we do more serve than we do protect on a daily basis. And service has taken on a multitude of different approaches, especially during this crisis. Over the last 90 days, we've had to be very creative about what we can do to help this community. Robin spoke, and we've been out together, distributing food to households, predominantly households of color, black and brown people, who are suffering from the inequalities and equitable shares or lack of equitable shares and resources here in this community, which is consistent across this country. And we created our neighborhood support teams led up by Major Kevin Granville, who's here today, who's done an exceptional job at this. And we switched the hats, went into full service mode, and helped issue out over 16 million pounds of food in this community. That takes burden off our residents and families who have to make difficult decisions as to should they pay the utilities or send their kids to a support program that's educating them on financial literacy, that's building them up, making those tough decisions. We're mitigating some of those. We also had to be challenged about what can we do with some of our law enforcement trust funds beyond the tradition. Junior Achievement is a recipient of the trust funds that we have here. But with so many households suffering and not being able to eat, we had to shift and issue out $100,000 to pay for 750,000 meals in this community. That's another burden taken off someone's plate to where now they can focus on those skills and those things that are essential to be successful, not just as a citizen here in Broward County, but as a person on this earth. to give them the things that was so fundamental for me. Education, I'll go right back to it. There's nothing more powerful than that. Through education, we have breached racism. Through education, we have breached through poverty, and I can go on and on and on. I want to make another pledge and commitment. Lori, you and I have talked all the time on Sidebar Conversations, but we will be creative in this organization. We will not spend $1 billion of the taxpayers' money on an annual basis and not convert millions of dollars back into uplifting this community and keeping people out of jail and putting them into colleges and giving them the educational opportunities that benefit this whole society. So I'm honored to be here. I'm so proud of the work that you all are continuing to do, and understand that this agency will always be behind you in figuring out ways to further support your initiatives. So thank you for having me here today.